What if I told you that the most important moment of your dog's entire day isn't when you feed them? It isn't when you take them for a walk. And it isn't when you come home. It's the 60 seconds right before you leave. Because in those final moments, your dog is making a prediction that will determine how they feel for the next several hours, whether they spend that time resting peacefully or pacing, whining, barking, watching the door, waiting, stressing. Most owners never realize this is happening. They think the problem starts after they leave. It doesn't. For many dogs, the problem starts before the door even closes. And the reason is hidden in something so small that almost nobody notices it. A glance, a movement, a routine, a tiny signal, something your dog has been studying for months, maybe years. Because while you think you're getting ready for work, your dog is already reading the future. And here's what's fascinating. Science shows that dogs don't simply react to events, they learn to anticipate them. They recognize patterns with incredible accuracy. In fact, many dogs know you're leaving long before you touch your keys, before you grab your bag, before you walk toward the door, sometimes before you've consciously decided to leave yourself. Which means the real question isn't, how does my dog react after I leave? The real question is, what have I already taught my dog's brain to expect before I leave? Because once you understand that, everything changes. Today, we're going to uncover the science-backed routine that can completely transform how your dog experiences your absence. Not through expensive products, not through complicated training, not through gimmicks, but through one simple shift in the way you prepare to leave. And stay with me until the end. Because the final step is responsible for one of the biggest mistakes dog owners make every single day. A mistake that can quietly increase anxiety without them ever realizing it. Let's begin. Why your dog is watching you more than you think right now. Imagine you're sitting in your living room. Your dog is across the room, maybe lying down, maybe pretending to sleep, maybe chewing on a toy. From your perspective, they look relaxed, distracted, occupied, not paying attention, but then you stand up. And somehow, their head immediately lifts. You move toward another room. They notice. You walk toward the hallway. They notice. You put on shoes. They notice. You pick up your keys. Now they're fully alert. How? Because your dog has spent thousands of hours studying you. Not occasionally, constantly. Dogs are experts at observing human behavior. It's one of the reasons they have become so successful living alongside us. For generations, dogs that could understand humans had an advantage. They understood routines, predicted outcomes, recognized opportunities, avoided danger. And today, that same ability is focused almost entirely on you. Your dog knows your patterns, they know your habits, they know the difference between grabbing your shoes for a walk and grabbing your shoes for work. They know the difference between weekend energy and weekday energy. They know the difference between you relaxing on the couch and preparing to leave, long before the door opens. And here's where things become important. Many owners unknowingly teach their dogs that departure equals stress, not intentionally, not because they're bad owners, but because of the emotional signals they send. Think about your own behavior. What happens right before you leave? You move faster. Your attention changes. You check things. You gather items. You become task-focused. Your energy shifts. To another human, these changes seem insignificant. To your dog, they're impossible to miss. And every single departure adds another layer to a prediction your dog is building. A prediction that says something is about to happen. The question is, what kind of prediction are they making? Because if your dog has learned that departures are dramatic, uncertain, emotional, or stressful, their nervous system begins preparing for stress before you've even left. Imagine hearing thunder every day right before a storm. Eventually, you wouldn't wait for the storm. The thunder alone would trigger anticipation. Dogs do something similar. They don't just react to being alone, they react to the signals that predict being alone. And that's why the next step is so powerful, because it targets the prediction itself. not the symptoms. Step 1. Change the emotional temperature of the room. Most dog owners focus on what they do. Very few focus on what they feel. And yet, your emotional state may be the most important signal your dog receives before you leave. Let's imagine two different owners. Owner number 1 is running late. They're rushing, checking their phone, looking for their keys, thinking about work, feeling pressure, moving quickly. Their dog watches all of this. Now imagine owner number 2. Same house, same dog, same departure, but completely different energy. Their movements are slower. Their breathing is steady. Their attention is calm. Nothing feels urgent. Nothing feels dramatic. The difference seems small, but to a dog, it's enormous. Because dogs don't just observe behavior, they absorb emotion. Researchers studying the dog-human relationship have repeatedly found evidence that dogs are highly sensitive to human emotional states. When we're stressed, they often become more alert. When we're calm, they often become calmer. Your emotional state acts like a signal, a message, a piece of information your dog uses to decide whether the environment is safe. And here's the surprising part. Most owners accidentally make departures emotionally bigger than they need to be, not because they don't love their dog, because they love them too much. They feel guilty, they feel bad, they worry, they overcompensate, they start talking differently, acting differently, behaving differently, and their dog immediately notices. Imagine your best friend suddenly becoming emotional every time they left a room. Eventually, you'd start thinking, why is leaving such a big deal? Your dog reaches a similar conclusion, not consciously, but emotionally. The departure becomes charged with meaning, importance, intensity, and intensity creates alertness. So here's the first thing science-backed behavior specialists often recommend. Before changing anything else, change your own state, not your dog's, yours. Slow down, relax your shoulders, take a breath, move deliberately, reduce urgency. Because your dog is constantly asking a question, should I be worried right now? And your body language is helping answer that question. Long before the door closes, long before you're gone, long before your dog is left alone. Which brings us to the next step. And this is where most owners accidentally make the biggest mistake of all, because the thing they believe is helping their dog may actually be making departures harder. Before we continue, I want you to think about something. Have you ever noticed how your dog can be completely relaxed one moment and then suddenly become alert the second you pick up a certain object? Maybe it's your keys, maybe it's your bag, maybe it's your shoes, maybe it's simply the sound of a door opening. Their ears lift, their eyes lock onto you, their body changes, almost instantly. That reaction didn't appear overnight. Your dog built it, one repetition at a time, one departure at a time, one prediction at a time. Which means if a dog can learn that leaving predicts stress, they can also learn that leaving predicts safety. And that's exactly what the next 2 steps are designed to do. Step 2. Stop making your goodbye the most emotional moment of the day. Let's be honest. Most people don't make dramatic goodbyes for their dog. They make dramatic goodbyes for themselves. And that's not criticism. It's human nature. You love your dog. You feel bad about leaving. You know they'll miss you. So before walking out the door, you kneel down. You hug them. You kiss their head. You tell them you'll be back soon. You say, "Be a good boy. I'll miss you. Don't be sad." Then you give one last cuddle, one last look, one last goodbye. It feels loving. It feels caring. It feels right. But from your dog's perspective, something very different may be happening. Imagine this. Every single day, before something stressful happens, the people around you suddenly become unusually emotional. They speak differently, act differently, behave differently. How would your brain interpret that? You'd start assuming something important was about to happen, something unusual, something significant. Dogs often reach the same conclusion, not because they understand your words, because they understand your behavior. Remember something important. Dogs don't speak English. They speak patterns. And when the pattern becomes big goodbye, arrow owner disappears. The goodbye itself starts becoming a trigger. Your dog doesn't wait for the absence. Their nervous system begins reacting to the prediction of absence. This is one of the reasons many behavior specialists encourage owners to make departures incredibly boring. Not cold, not distant, not unfriendly, just boring, predictable, ordinary, uneventful, because ordinary things don't activate the nervous system. Think about brushing your teeth. You probably don't feel emotional about it. Your brain recognizes it as routine, predictable, safe. That's exactly how departures should feel to your dog. Not dramatic, not heartbreaking, not emotionally charged, routine, normal, expected. Now here's where many owners struggle. They hear this advice and think, but I don't want my dog to think I don't love them. That's not what we're doing. You're not removing affection. You're relocating it. There's a huge difference. Give affection throughout the day. Give affection during walks, during play, during cuddles, during quiet moments together. But right before departure, your goal isn't affection. Your goal is stability, because stability creates security. And security is ultimately a greater act of love than temporary reassurance. Think about a child learning to sleep independently. Constant reassurance may feel comforting in the moment, but confidence comes from learning. I am okay even when you're not here. Your dog needs a similar lesson. Not abandonment, not isolation, confidence. The confidence that your departure isn't a crisis. It's simply a temporary event, one that always ends the same way. You come back, and when your departures become emotionally neutral, something remarkable often happens. Your dog's anticipation begins changing. Their nervous system stops preparing for an emotional event. Because you've stopped signaling that one exists, but we're not done. Because even if your departure becomes boring, there is still one powerful sense your dog relies on more than any other. A sense that can either increase comfort or increase anxiety, and most owners completely underestimate it. Step 3. Leave behind the one thing your dog wants most. Let's play a quick game. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine walking into your childhood home. You haven't been there in years. Everything looks different. The furniture changed, the walls changed, the decorations changed. But then, you smell something familiar. Maybe a meal, maybe a scent, maybe a specific smell you've known your entire life. Suddenly, memories come rushing back. Emotions appear instantly. Comfort appears instantly. Familiarity appears instantly. That's the power of scent. Now imagine experiencing the world the way your dog does, not primarily through sight, not primarily through words, but through smell. Scientists estimate that a dog's sense of smell is dramatically more powerful than ours. To humans, scent is information. To dogs, scent is an entire language. And your scent is one of the most important pieces of information in your dog's world. Think about what your scent represents. Safety, family, routine, connection, belonging, home. Every day, your dog spends hours surrounded by that information. Then suddenly you leave. And over time, your scent slowly fades. To us, that change is invisible. To a dog, it's noticeable, which is why one of the simplest science-supported strategies can be surprisingly effective. Leave behind something that smells like you. Not something washed, not something freshly cleaned, something recent, something familiar, something carrying the scent profile your dog associates with comfort and security. A sweatshirt, a t-shirt, a blanket you've recently used, something authentic. Because here's what your dog experiences. The person is gone, but evidence of the person remains. The scent acts like a message that says, my person exists. My person was here. My person comes back. And for many dogs, that information matters tremendously, particularly sensitive dogs, rescue dogs, recently adopted dogs, dogs adjusting to new routines, dogs with mild separation-related stress. Now, does a scented shirt magically eliminate anxiety? Of course not, but that's not the point. We're not trying to trick your dog. We're trying to support their nervous system. We're trying to make the environment feel familiar, predictable, safe, because every source of safety matters. And the most powerful part, your dog doesn't have to learn anything. No commands, no training sessions, no complicated exercises. You're simply using a sense they already trust, a sense they've depended on since the day they met you. And when combined with a calm departure, something interesting begins happening. Your dog starts receiving the same message from multiple directions. Your body language says, everything is normal. Your routine says, everything is predictable. Your sense says, everything is safe. And when enough evidence points towards safety, the nervous system begins believing it. But there is still one major problem most homes unknowingly create, a problem that continues triggering alertness long after the owner leaves, a problem hiding in plain sight, something millions of dog owners are accidentally doing every single day. And once you see it, you'll never leave your dog alone the same way again. Up to this point, we've talked about something most dog owners never consider. Not what happens after they leave, but what happens before. Because by the time your front door closes, your dog's brain has already collected dozens of pieces of information. Your energy, your routine, your movements, your goodbye, your scent. And from all of that information, your dog's nervous system creates a prediction about what the next few hours will feel like, safe or stressful, predictable or uncertain. And now we come to the final two steps, the steps that bring everything together, the ones that can completely change how your dog experiences being alone. Step 4, control what your dog hears after you leave. Imagine you're trying to fall asleep. Everything is quiet. You're finally relaxed. Your body is settling down. Your mind is slowing down. And then, a loud crash, a sudden alarm, a car horn, a stranger yelling outside. Instantly, your heart rate jumps. Your body becomes alert. Your brain shifts into investigation mode. You were resting. Now you're monitoring. Now imagine that happening repeatedly throughout the day. No explanation, no reassurance, no one there to tell you everything is okay. That is the reality many dogs experience, and most owners don't even realize it, because once they leave, they stop seeing the environment through their dog's perspective. Think about all the sounds your dog hears while you're gone. Delivery trucks, doorbells, neighbors, construction, sirens, motorcycles, people walking past windows, dogs barking outside, random noises from the hallway. The world doesn't become quiet when you leave. In many ways, it becomes more unpredictable, and unpredictability is one of the biggest triggers of nervous system vigilance. Why? Because the brain hates uncertainty. For humans, for dogs, for nearly every living creature. The brain prefers predictable information over random information. Predictable sounds become background noise. Unpredictable sounds become potential threats. This is where many owners accidentally make a mistake. They leave the television running, not because it's harmful, because they're trying to help. But here's the problem. Television isn't predictable. One moment it's calm, the next moment there's shouting, then music, then explosions, then commercials, then sudden laughter, then sirens, then dramatic sound effects. Your dog never knows what's coming next, and because they don't understand television the way humans do, those sounds can feel completely random. Instead of creating calm, they sometimes create more alertness. What works better? Consistency. Soft classical music, gentle instrumental audio, calming dog-specific playlists, steady nature sounds, audio environments that remain relatively stable over time. The goal isn't entertainment. The goal is predictability, because predictable sound gives the nervous system permission to relax. Think about rain. Many people find rain calming, not because rain is silent, because rain is consistent. The brain learns, nothing unexpected is happening. Nothing requires my attention. I can rest. Your dog experiences something very similar, and when combined with everything we've already discussed, the effect becomes even stronger, because now the environment itself is helping support relaxation, not fighting against it. But there's still one final step, and this step may be the most important of all, because without it, everything else becomes less effective. Step 5. Teach your dog that your return is guaranteed. This is the part almost nobody talks about because most people focus on reducing anxiety. Very few focus on building confidence. And those are not the same thing. Imagine standing on a bridge. One person tells you, "Don't be scared." Another person shows you proof that the bridge is strong. Which one creates real confidence? The proof. Always the proof. Confidence doesn't come from words. Confidence comes from experience, and your dog learns exactly the same way. Many owners unknowingly create a cycle. The dog feels anxious. The owner responds emotionally. The dog becomes dependent on reassurance. The owner gives more reassurance. The cycle continues. But genuine security comes from something different. Evidence. Repeated evidence. Evidence that every departure ends the same way. You come back. Think about it from your dog's perspective. At first, they don't know, especially puppies, rescue dogs, recently adopted dogs, dogs with unstable past experiences. For them, every departure can feel uncertain. But then something happens. You leave and return. You leave again and return again, then again and again and again. Eventually, a pattern forms, a powerful pattern, one that slowly rewires expectations, not because someone explained it, because the dog lived it, experienced it, verified it thousands of times. And this leads to one of the biggest mistakes owners make. They focus so much on the departure that they accidentally make the return too emotional as well. Think about it. If every return feels like a massive celebration, what does that imply about the absence? That it was something extraordinary, something significant, something dramatic. Instead, behavior experts often recommend something surprisingly simple. When you return home, stay calm for the first few minutes. Not cold, not distant, calm. Let your dog greet you, acknowledge them, but don't immediately turn the moment into an emotional explosion. Why? Because your return should confirm normality, not excitement. The message should be, "I left. I came back, just like always. No surprises, no danger, no reason to worry." Over time, this becomes one of the most powerful lessons your dog can ever learn. Not, "My owner disappears," but "My owner always returns." And once a dog truly believes that, everything changes, because confidence replaces uncertainty, trust replaces anticipation, security replaces fear. The one thing your dog is really learning when most people think about leaving their dog alone, they think they're teaching independence. But that's not actually what's happening. Every departure teaches something deeper. Every departure teaches your dog what to expect from life, whether the world is predictable, whether safety exists, whether good things return, whether trust is justified. Every time you leave, your dog asks a silent question, "Can I relax now?" And every signal you provide helps answer it. Your routine, your energy, your scent, your environment, your consistency, all of it matters. Not because dogs are fragile, because dogs are learning. Constantly, always, even when we don't realize it. And perhaps that's the most beautiful part of all. Your dog doesn't need perfection. They don't need a flawless owner. They don't need endless attention. They don't need you to stay home forever. What they need is evidence. Evidence that they're safe. Evidence that they're secure. Evidence that being alone isn't danger. Evidence that you always come back. Because deep down, that's what trust really is. Not the absence of separation, but the certainty that separation is temporary. And when your dog learns that lesson, something incredible happens. Being alone stops feeling like a threat and starts feeling like a pause. A pause between the moments they get to see their favorite person again. You. So tomorrow morning, before you leave, remember this. Your dog isn't just watching what you do. They're learning what your actions mean. Teach them that departures are calm. Teach them that absences are temporary. Teach them that home remains safe even when you're not inside it. And most importantly, teach them through consistency. Because consistency is the language trust is built on. And trust is the greatest gift you will ever give your dog. If this video helped you see your dog's world differently, share it with another dog owner who needs to hear it. And subscribe for more science-backed insights that help you understand the mind behind those loyal eyes. Because every dog deserves to feel safe, and every dog deserves to know their person always comes back.